Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry.
I'm Robin. We are not affiliated with anybody. AA, NA, CA, STDs, PhDs. There's no letters after our names. It's just us and any special guests we choose to have on.
That's funny. Hey, we're trying to change up the intro a little bit, try to get everybody a little bit excited. We got a very good one today. We're bringing our friend Brad back with us, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is the kind of Brad that when I say that this is the kind of friend Brad is.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
That's the kind of friend our Brad is right there. He don't give a fuck. Let's go, boys.
Yeah.
Whose car are we taking? That's from the town. So we got a good show today. We brought Brad in only because we're gonna hit on a topic that's come up quite a few times in the last. I've heard it probably 15, 20 times in the last month. You know, and people keep asking me this: are you California sober? Are you California sober? So I'm gonna start this off, and Brad and Rob got a little bit of differences in opinion on this, but it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it for a little bit and see where we can come up with. But first off, I want to play this a little bit from with Dr. Drew.
Are you really sober if you still smoke weed and do shrooms every weekend? Maybe. A new trend is taking over, and it's called California sober. Willie Nelson says he's adopted it. It's a practice that involves abstaining from alcohol and hard drugs, but doing marijuana and psychedelics, including ketamine. So not really sober at all, more like California stoner. Is this something we should embrace, or is it a slippery slope? Returning to the show is my friend, internist, and host of the Ask Dr. Drew podcast, Dr. Drew Pinsky. So Drew, I obviously, as you know, have a very, my view of the world. I don't care what anybody does. Do whatever you want with your life. But is it interesting to have the word sober in the phrase California sober when you can do weed, acid, mushrooms, and ketamine?
Yes, it's a little blush of denial, let's just say. But you're right. I'm with you. People can do whatever they want, but there are consequences from the choices people make. Sobriety, look, unfortunately, if you have the disease of addiction and you take anything that tickle the reward mechanisms in the medial forebrain bundle, you will reactivate your disease. The thing about addiction is, though, people have the denial with addiction actually reaches the level of sort of neurobiology. It's called anosognosia, where they can't see what is happening to them. We just call it denial colloquially, but it is actually something more powerful than that as the disease progresses. And the reality is, if you're going to try it again, it's going to end in the same place. But addicts always have to prove that to themselves. So if that's what they must do, that's what they must do. I do worry about putting hallucinogens into the mix here because we really don't know the long-term effects of that yet. It will have utility. There's no doubt it has antidepressant properties, but at what risk, in what dose, for what frequency, for what duration, we have no idea.
Anyway, that goes on a little bit later. That's Kat Timpf, I think.
Kat Timpf.
Yeah. She's on Fox News, and she's on Dr. Drew's show all the time, and she's pretty good, but I love listening to Dr. Drew. So, I mean, give me your opinion on that, Rob.
Well, California fucking sober? No such thing. Just call it California high. There's no such thing as being sober.
Right.
If you like that. I mean, now listen, if that's the way you want to live, great. But don't walk around saying you're sober.
Right.
And don't be going and collecting 5, 6, 7 year chips when you're smoking pot and doing hallucinogens.
Right.
No, you're not sober.
Okay. Brad?
I disagree. I mean, smoking weed wasn't my problem. I mean, I haven't smoked weed in probably almost 12 years,
Why?
but
Why haven't you?
because money's more important to me.
And why do people smoke weed?
Well, for me, I wasn't that lazy stoner that didn't want to do anything. I was motivated and ready to go, To me, I never had an argument with a significant other while I was stoned or said anything that I needed to take back or apologize for. When I was drunk, I said a lot of things and did a lot of bad things. When I was stoned, I was good. I was calm. I was less irritable.
So is that why we do it? Is that why people smoke? Why do people smoke? Why do we drink?
I drink
because we like the effect of alcohol.
I drink when I would smoke weed. It would do what. Remember we talk about that balance, right? To the pendulum. You drink just enough alcohol to calm yourself down, and then some people use powdered accelerant to take it back off, and they were looking for that swing, that good point. I think when Pat was in here, we were kind of talking about that. for me, if I smoked one drag off a joint, I was way beyond the pendulum and I was asleep. I didn't like that. I drank to numb that inside, that anxiety, that fear, that everything that I had inside, and I try to get that to calm down. That's why I drink.
That's why most people smoke weed too, or do shrooms. Why do they do it? To change the way they feel, to change the way they to relax. Same way we drink, it just went overboard. So what is your motive?
Right, and that's what.
I'm not. And just because you don't go break the law,
right,
or other things, right? I never got arrested drinking. Was I an alcoholic? Fuck yeah, but doesn't mean it's right. Right. And doesn't mean you're sober. Right.
Because just like Dr. Drew says, it changes. What did he say? It changes your.
Well, you're paying off that.
Right.
Your feel good receptors.
Right.
Yeah. Your reward receptors, what you're doing.
Come on, Brad.
and you'll hear people, just one more, because I've heard people in the rooms, they're not around anymore, that tried it. I know there's a gal at Oak that used to drive me crazy. She smoked weed every day. Go get a 6-year. She's not around anymore. But then you ask her, why do you smoke off the side? Because she would push that. If that's your deal, great. But don't push it on people.
She would push it in the rooms of AA?
Everybody knew about it.
Really?
Even people that she'd sponsor. I don't know why you'd ask her to sponsor you, but they did. But she would always justify, rationalize, or minimize. And anytime you've got to do that with whatever you're doing,
right,
you're wrong. Because you're justified in your own mind, you're rationalizing, you're minimizing. Even you're telling yourself that it's wrong.
Right.
So I don't mind if people do that. And in the rooms, and I told you the story. Yeah. Remember, there was when I just came in, primary purpose, maybe a year sober. There was a guy who had 9 years sober. Everybody knew he wasn't an alcoholic. He had a DUI, went out, fucked around again, got a second one. The fear of a third DUI, he came into the rooms and he loved what he found there. Said all the good words, sounded real good. A young man asked him to be a sponsor. In that back room, the back room where we store stuff. Yeah. They were back there talking. And again, I just happened to overhear it. And he asked him if he'd be a sponsor, take him through the steps. And he says, man, you don't have to go through this. You don't have to do the steps. I didn't. And I haven't had a drink in 9 years. I never said a word. 2 weeks later, man, probably longer than that, that young man, hit and run, he went to jail. He did, vehicular manslaughter. Now, that wasn't my fault for not saying nothing. Was it his fault for, the guys with 9 years who wasn't an alcoholic?
What do you mean he wasn't an alcoholic? He keeps saying
he was a certain type of hard drinker. Okay. That the book talks about. He wasn't one of us. Right?
But who are you to say that? How do you know he wasn't an alcoholic?
Because he wasn't.
You're going to have to justify that a little bit,
we can get the book. Anyway, the point is, you've got to be careful. If you go in the rooms, hey, yeah, I'm sober. I smoke weed, but that's all I do. And then someone else hears you and they do it.
Right.
No, that's not your fault.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying because they're coming into the rooms of AA where they feel like they're coming in to get sober, but they hear somebody that's got 9 years of sobriety go, but it's okay. You can go ahead and smoke weed. I mean, then that person's going to say, well, I've never smoked weed, but if it gives me the same feeling, I'm going to go ahead and go smoke weed. Then all of a sudden they're down the run of a weed addiction.
Again, and it's the person's fault for going and doing it.
Right.
It's not the other guy's fault, but it's just a slippery slope when you start doing this.
I get what you're saying, but for me, when I was smoking, it wasn't on a slippery slope. I didn't have it. I mean, I might have smoked a little too much back then, but it wasn't something that I was struggling with,
But why did you do it? Why did you smoke? Why did you first pick it up? Because the boys were doing it, your buddies?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, Rob, I was in 5th grade.
I know. I get it.
We were still picking stems and seeds out of this shit, but.
And then when you stopped, I remember because during your story, because the line of work we're in, you get drug tested, so you can't do it. Right. That's why you stopped. As you became an adult, why did you continue to do it? What benefit did it give you?
For me, it made me feel better. It made me, I concentrated. I feel like I can concentrate better. But I'm different. I'm not saying I'm special, but there's people that are stoners. They get stoned. They can't do a fucking thing. They're lazy. I used to be able to get up and get stoned and go to work, and I'm ready to go. But I never did powder excellences, so I can't judge it towards that, but I think it's kind of the same thing. You guys do your accelerates and you're ready to go. You're ready to party all night. Mm-hmm. I could get stoned and be happy and motivated. Let's go do something.
I know a lot of guys that can't get out of bed unless they smoke a couple bowls.
But I couldn't do both at the same time. Like I said before, I couldn't drink and
this
smoke.
Guy doesn't even drink. He doesn't drink at all. In fact, I took him a 12-pack of beer one day when they moved into a new house. Saying, congratulations. He's like, I don't drink. I'm like, what? Yeah, I don't drink. Okay, But he sits around and smokes weed all day long.
But I also think now, I haven't smoked in 12 years, but if it got to the point where legally I could, without losing my job, I might want to maybe come home one day and take a couple puffs and relax, You don't
think that?
It's the same thing as if you're in pain.
Yeah.
Do you ride it out?
It's not the same thing.
I'm just asking the question. Do you ride it out or do you take a pain pill?
It depends on how much pain I'm in. Really. When I was going through cancer, I took pain pills that were prescribed.
Yeah, I get that for sure, but
really I don't take much because I don't. If I'm in pain,
I'm the same way, but I don't know. For me, it just opens your mind, relaxes you a little bit, and But if it got to the point where you're smoking all day, you got to have weed to go get weed. Then I get what you're saying.
It goes back to what the step one is, right? Is it controlling your lives, right? Our lives have become unmanageable because the weed is managing our lives.
I think it comes down to our book would tell us that it comes down to the motive. Why are you doing it?
Right.
To relax, to wind down, to close. The same reason we drink.
To take you out of that mental state of mind that is sober.
Which is now what I use prayer and meditation for. I don't have to, by mind, I don't have to do, obviously I don't drink anymore. Right. And I don't have to because we did this process. And now I have tools that do that.
Right.
And the power of God that does that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But I could tell you if I didn't have to quit smoking, I could almost bet you that I wouldn't became an alcoholic. Because that's when I made my switch, okay? That was working. That was keeping me calm, motivated, and I was good. Right. And then I couldn't do that anymore, and that's when I started drinking. I mean, granted, I started off super slow drinking, and it didn't, I didn't progress to the last couple of years of my career where it fucking went off the deep end, but
it's super, as you say, the progressive. Why are you raising your fucking hand?
I got a question.
He's got to go to the bathroom.
Fucking talk.
Why do you, okay, I
stand up on a chair when you raise your hand.
I got a question for both of you again. Why do you chew tobacco? Why do you also do pouches and smoke cigarettes? Why do you guys, why the nicotine? Why the tobacco?
I can tell you why I do it.
Why?
Because I'm too fucking hard-headed to fucking quit. No. I don't do it for any effect. I can promise you that.
You don't get anything out of nicotine.
Not one fucking ounce.
It's just a habit.
Just a fucking stupid habit.
Not to calm you down.
Nope. Absolutely.
Are you sure?
100%.
Nicotine doesn't affect you at all.
100%. I don't think it does. Okay. I honestly don't think it does.
It's also like calming. Like if you're stressed.
But it's that stress.
You see people stressed, they start chain smoking. If Larry just lost all his flavor in his dip and he's starting to stress, you're going to see him put a fucking another one in to have that, like you always say, that first drink, that.
Yeah. Right.
I mean.
But I don't get that with that.
Because you've been doing it for so long.
But because tobacco's not illegal.
No, it's
like booze. Like
I can sit here and click.
It's okay. Is it okay?
Hear that with my pen?
Yeah.
I can sit here and do that right there. And relieve every stress I have from.
And get shot.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
So get you a fidget spinner and put the tobacco in. But you won't do that.
No.
Why?
Because I'm retarded and hard-headed. I fucking guarantee you're not going to get me to say it any other way. I said it with my alcohol because I was hiding that from behind my alcohol. My tobacco, I can straight up tell you it's just because I'm fucking hard-headed and I don't want to. Period. End of statement. I have no fucking out.
He already answered it. It's because that relaxing.
I don't get that. I will tell you right now, my chew, and when I take it, is 100% scheduled. 100%. When I get behind the wheel of my truck
after a meal,
when I get in a truck,
a cup of coffee.
That's it. It's all it is.
Same time I did it.
It's all it is. It's never fuck. I'm stressed. I need to fucking chew. It's never that. Now, when I was drinking,
I take that back. I seen you at the wedding.
Yes.
Oh boy! Don't fucking say that. You were. You put the whole can in his mouth. Fucking pie over here.
Hey, and all I'm getting at is your motive.
Right. No, I
get
it.
Why we're doing it.
Right.
And but just don't call something sober that it isn't. That's all I'm saying.
No, I completely get what you're saying.
And if you want to smoke pot and you want to take
I want to clean this up because me and my wife were arguing about this. Not arguing, we were talking about it. We were talking about Jelly Roll. He's got that song Sober. Right. Motherfucker ain't sober.
No, he's not sober.
Okay.
He'll tell you. We did a clip too.
But to me, sober is alcohol. Sober is a liquid to me.
So you're talking about clean and sober.
Yeah. And you know what? People are embarrassed to say they're clean. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, I get you.
To me, sober is alcohol. If someone comes to me and says you're sober, I automatically assume you haven't had a drink in however long.
That's the vernacular.
But don't come to me and say you're sober because you don't smoke weed or you haven't done powder accelerants or any, like, I don't understand that. To me, sober is alcohol. If you're clean, you're clean. Fucking own it. Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
What's wrong with saying
Well,
clean?
you know, people in the room say I've been clean and sober because I've been clean for meth for 20, my son's 20, so 21 years. And I haven't had a drink in 13 and a half.
Yeah, but this guy's out there singing sober songs.
He's not.
You ain't none of that.
No, because he still says he drinks and he smokes pot and he goes to AA meetings. Larry played a clip of him our last.
Yeah, I was just trying to find it.
On that song, the song was called No One Got Here on a Winning Streak.
Right.
Pretty cool song, but he's not sober.
No. And
Clean or
he's
sober.
the first one to say that.
And I'm not cracking on him.
But he's also the one that says when he has some downtime, he'll get into an AA meeting just to relieve some of the demons that he has going on inside of his body.
So I can drink and still go to meetings and I'm going to be okay?
I wouldn't.
No, I
It would
wouldn't.
kill me.
I know people that do it. People still say that they'll have that.
But
they
that's
still
just
drink.
them trying to justify it in their head that it's okay.
No, and I'm not going to bring
up. As long
up
as I go to a meeting, I won't go over the top.
Justify, minimize, rationalize. That's what I wrote down.
Huh. Yeah,
We should have brought a joint and passed it around and had this conversation.
You don't want to say I hate that shit.
No. So
See, but that's another thing, Rob. You didn't like weed growing up, so
Well, it is because it didn't do for me what I wanted. I enjoyed the other ones. I tried weed.
but that's why it's different for me. It was different for you, so that's why it's hard. If it had a different effect on you, you might have a different opinion.
Well,
and I also think about, they were talking about mushrooms. You go down that rabbit hole. If you actually go down the rabbit hole of all the scientific, the research on that shit, that stuff is really good for people.
For some
I'm
people,
not like going crazy where you're seeing shit, but
when they synthesize it,
when people are suffering from the military, PTSD and all that, like there's things that people can do that's really helped people and get into their brain. You watch Sean Ryan, he talks about how he went down to Mexico and did that treatment
ayahuasca.
where you purge.
Ayahuasca.
Like
Ron White.
I honestly wouldn't mind trying it.
Ron White talks about that too.
When you're talking about LSD and shrooms, I mean God, it escapes me what the chemical is. Anyway, when they synthesize it and they prescribe it and they give it to people with, like my sister had epilepsy for certain things like severe epilepsy. That's medicinal. That's a whole different. That's not a guy just popping shrooms, a handful of mushrooms, chewing them up and say, I'm sober, California sober. There's a whole different.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's just doing it for fun.
Right. Or doing it to change the way you think.
Right.
The same reason I started drinking. I mean, I enjoyed, but that was, how am I going to sleep if I don't drink? Now, more than likely, I mean, my heart would explode, but I would do a big old fat line long before I grabbed a bottle. But I knew if I did that, even though I quit that cold turkey, I'm done when I popped all the pistols.
Right.
The alcohol is what killed me. I couldn't stop it.
Right.
But one would lead to the other. And either way would I be sober
And
if I
we
did.
talked about that. And
if you ever made meth legal, doesn't mean I would do it. I'd get a lot of shit done, but it'd kill. You know what I mean? But that's all. Just be careful what we call sober.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. What we're talking about, what you guys are talking about is this.
To me, though, it's just something that gets out of control.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Something to me, it's if you've lost control over it and you need to get a handle on it.
Right. And that's what I said in the very beginning. We got to go back to 1, 2, and 3, right? What does it, can no longer control it, right? Found a power better than that and gave it over to him, right?
But when I was smoking, weed wasn't managing my life.
Well, so you weren't addicted to it, right? Alcohol was a control in my life. That I know for a fact it was. It was controlling my life and it was killing me, right? Now, will weed ever kill you? I don't think it would. I think it would. I mean, some people can function on a very highly. I know people very high up in.
Well, that's why I liked it. That's why I didn't like to drink, because I get to that point where, you feel you're in control, but
Right.
you're not really in control. Weed, I was always in control.
You thought.
No,
thought,
I
or
was. I know. I was
let me
in
ask you
control.
this.
I was never scared or like.
Right.
It's legal in California where we live. And I don't know the regulations as far as driving.
No, you still can't be stoned.
You
Okay.
can't.
So they still regulate.
It's hard for them to prove it,
Well, you get popped on a drug test.
But just now, you don't have to call your drug dealer, and if he ain't got none, call the next one or
Yeah,
call the next one.
I
You just
can't
go to the
imagine.
damn store and buy
Yeah.
the shit.
And I can't imagine what that stuff is like. That's got to be good. I don't know. It's got to be the good stuff, whatever they can grow, all that stuff.
way more potent than when I was smoking.
You don't have to pick the stems out of that shit.
No.
You're smoking the shake.
Yeah, no more seeds popping while you're smoking a joint.
Hey, so here's what I read something this morning, and it actually kind of runs into that a little bit, and it's on page 180. You know, when Mike was in here last week, he read a little bit about Dr. Bob's Nightmare and Into It, and how my fucking sponsor didn't make me read it. In fact, because it doesn't tell you to read anything, but that's okay. I love you anyways, Rob.
The book, I just do what the book says, baby.
No, this wasn't. I mean, I really hadn't dug into Dr. Bob's Nightmare a whole lot, but when I read this right here, to me, it reigns with me a lot. It is, and it's on page 180. It is a most wonderful blessing to be relieved of the terrible curse with which I was afflicted. My health is good, and I have regained my self-respect and the respect of the colleagues around me. My home life is ideal, and my business as good as can be expected in these uncertain times. You know, that the first part of that is what got me. It is a most wonderful blessing to be relieved of the terrible curse with which I was afflicted. But that's what's good. It kind of wraps back into this California sober that we're talking about, right? Some people feel like even in this sobriety, and we talked about it, there's a difference between being sober and having sobriety, right? I mean,
we call it dry if you're
right. Being sober is just, you don't have you're not.
You haven't had a drink.
You haven't had a drink. You haven't had any, you're not using a drug.
Wait, for Brad's sake, and for those, because I associate those, as far as not anecdotally, but sober, I associate with alcohol. When people say, man, I'm clean and sober, it means they haven't done a drug or alcohol to change the way they think or feel.
Right.
They haven't touched any of that. So for the sake of the rest of the audience, let's say clean, just to make sure we know what we're talking about, clean, even though we're alcoholics.
Right.
I've done a lot of fucking drugs. And I didn't mind LSD. Did some of that.
One thing I never did.
Did some of that in the Navy. Some window paint, some three-way.
See, I was too scared, living with drugs in my house.
Paranoid.
Bugs Bunny was talking to me on the TV. I watched a beer can melt and form back up.
Me and Scooby-Doo cleaned my room.
Dude, it was amazing. I mean, and we sat all night drinking. They never got drunk, laughing like crazy. So I'm going back on the ship. We get up at 3. We got to go check in at 4 in the morning. We're in Bremerton, Washington. My ship's in dry dock. They got to carry me on board. And when you come aboard, you got to show your ID, say, salute, permission to come aboard.
They fucking Bernie man you? Or they, weekend at Bernie's, they hold your hand? And
I was just like this because I couldn't walk because we drank all night. And I said, permission to cross the patio, daddy-o. And I got my fucking ass reamed. And for the next 2 weeks, I had to stand the midnight to 4 watch out there, freezing ass cold in Washington.
That's funny. Dude, Scooby-Doo cleaned my room. Fucking dude.
That was crazy.
Why did that fucking get me? Oh, that was fucking funny. Anyways, I read that this morning and it just kind of hit, especially when you start talking about California sober, when it talks about the terrible curse with which I was afflicted. You go back and you think about all the depression that I was going through in that time, that affliction. Because that's the affliction I was under, right? And I kept thinking that the alcohol was getting me further and further and getting me out of that, but it kept getting me deeper and deeper into my depression, right? But that's how far messed up our brain would get, is we think that alcohol was helping with our depression, but it was actually hurting me further. Rob, what were you saying in the very beginning? The other thing we haven't talked about is what happened last weekend.
What happened last weekend, Dad?
What happened last weekend?
Wedding.
Mary and Matt got married. That was a blessing. What are you doing over there?
Nothing, just fixing my book.
Your fucking pamphlets that you got
around. We need to get him a stapler.
Good God.
Looks like pamphlets.
Wait, let's talk about the blessings of that, because when Matt and Mary were here, we talked about how that all came about. When we saw her at the meeting,
right?
She was crying. Her divorce was fine. This is before we even met. We knew there was a Matt.
Right. Before we knew there was a Matt.
There was a divorce was final. 2 weeks later, she's calling me. I'm on my way to Vegas to the conference. And she asked if she can give her husband, ex-husband, my phone number. Sure, they never called, but go ahead. Yeah. And that's when I was talking to Aaron all the time. He said, and I called him back. He says, what did Mary want? She's going to have her ex-husband reach out to me. Man, they're going to get remarried. He said it right then. That's love right there. Ex-wives don't do that. That's what he said.
It's incredible.
And here we are.
Right.
The loss of Adam.
Right.
Matt getting sober, doing the steps over a year sober now. Mary, coming up on 3, or she has 3, and now he's a year, and they get remarried.
we got the joy of sitting through and watching those guys get married. And I couldn't hear, we love Matt to death, but we were sitting in the back because they wouldn't allow us to sit up front because we would have made fun of poor Matt. And we were sitting back there and I couldn't hear a word Matt was saying about it on his vows.
I couldn't hardly hear Mary, but I'm definitely.
I could barely hear Mary. I could barely hear Mary, but I really wanted to hear Matt because I knew it was going to be very emotional. You know, the other thing is we got to do a little bit, and, you know, I've been wanting to get pictures of the social media up between you and me. And
did you do that?
So the pictures of you and me and Bonnie and Katie are up. So people actually see how short you are now.
5'7" all day, baby. 5'7.5" with boots on. God damn it.
So there is pictures of me and that picture's up there. And I think Katie's going to put Rob and she's going to probably release Brad and Grace next and kind of introduce those guys through the social media. So people kind of get some people going back and looking at that and watching it. So that's that. So we're really trying to re-ramp our social media. Every time I feel like we've kind of started going the right direction, that's the biggest thing for the podcast and trying to get more and more people involved. We're going to be hitting 2,000 listeners probably this week.
No shit.
Yeah.
Bunch of sad sons of it.
No,
you got to talk
stop
about
it.
Boring people.
No.
Sick listening to this.
So I mean, it's growing, but I want the social media. I want it more and more. And December 20th is going to be a big day for you and I.
Oh yeah, we're on another podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be on Sober Not Mature, which is another podcast I listen to. Them guys are out of Michigan. And they're awesome. So.
That kind of describes us too. Have you?
Right.
Yeah, you got sober and not so mature over here.
Hey, but Brad, I mean, come on. Tell me, I'm going to ask Brad's opinion because he knows both of us very well. And I love Brad because he don't pull punches.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In your opinion, would it surprise you if we walked up here and you saw Larry up here buck naked eating Cheetos, painting his dick orange, just talking into microphones by himself?
Painting his dick.
You know he's up here doing that. Sick bastard.
I don't even want to vision that.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Our listeners are really going to fucking get into that one.
I can see it.
You're an idiot.
No, I can.
Do you see it in your dreams at night or what? That's like the third or fourth time you said that.
I just think you're up here doing that.
No.
With all four mics, Brad, right here by him.
Got different angles for sound.
Yeah.
I can't do it until we put doors up there. Nobody can walk in on me. Nobody can walk in on me.
So what I was going through, because we had talked, about alcoholics who can't walk down liquor aisles, don't have alcohol in the homes, and how do you? And then we've heard people with their varying opinions, and I was, of course. I'm not a big book thumper whatsoever, but I was digging.
You're going to stop fucking saying that, or I'm going to thump you with this big fucking book.
I think we're going to start calling him Thumper.
We are.
That's a rabbit, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So I was just happened to be looking through the big book for no reason, and there's so many passages, but this is the one I want.
Reason.
In the book or in his head.
This is the one I wanted to share with that guest. This is the quote. This is the doctor's opinion. In the beginning, before you even get into the steps, this is Dr. Silkworth's opinion after he met with Bill. The doctor says, on the other hand, and strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, spiritual awakening or psychic change, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol, the only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules. Easily able. So if you've come into the rooms, right, you got a sponsor, you've worked these steps to the best of your ability, right? And you've had a spiritual awakening, you've had a psychic change, and you stay spiritually fit, you should be easily able to go anywhere on this planet because alcohol wasn't your problem. And if you don't, and that's a great way to gauge your spiritual fitness, right? I mean, if you can't go get onto the, last week I could put up 315. This week I get on the bench and I can't. My physical fitness is deteriorating.
Right.
If I can't walk down the fucking liquor aisle because Jack Daniels going to jump on me, my spiritual fitness is waning and I need to work on that.
But I would say in the beginning, you're right. In the beginning, don't, like when I did it, I poured the rest of the bottle down the drain and I just didn't need to be around it for a little bit. You know?
I get that. I'm talking
I don't say get sober, go to the bar and sit there and see how long you can without fucking getting a drink.
Not. Like, absolutely not.
But you did it without going to a rehab, right?
Yeah.
Rob and I had 28 days where I'm not going to lie. My 28th day when I was getting ready, the 26th, 27th day, I was scared to death to leave there. I honestly was, right? Because I hadn't worked the steps. I hadn't, you know, I still was battling the fears. I still had all that stuff, you know, so I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. I knew that I was going to walk outside those doors and my wife was going to be there and people were going to be there to support me and be with me. But once again, at that point, I wasn't worried about the support I was getting from my family because I had had that spiritual awakening. I was more worried about getting down to work on getting rid of that obsession. Not that because that obsession had kind of left.
You had the revelation,
right? The obsession had kind of left, right? But I didn't have alcohol sitting in front of me either,
right?
Right? I hadn't been hit with real world issues yet. I didn't go out to dinner with my wife yet. I hadn't been on the road by myself. I'll never forget the very first day I was home. I came home. Katie and I had spent a little bit of time together. I was leaving the house here about 5:30 to go to a 6:30 meeting by myself. Very first day, I left and stopped at a liquor store right there on the way in to get a root beer because when I got not addicted, but because of the amount of sugar that was in root beer, I stopped to get a root beer. My wife was following me on the thing. She saw I pulled into the liquor store and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry. I'm just getting a root beer." But I didn't have any problem. There was like no obsession, but that was like the first time that I'd kind of walked in.
But Brad's right. I mean, in early sobriety, I'm not talking about people in early sobriety. That's not what this people are talking about.
No.
Because you hear in the rooms, this is what the topic was. When you and I were at primary, they were talking about, you know, going to parties, weddings, and, you know, because they talked about in the back of the book. And there's people 4, 5, 6 years sober that still won't go down a liquor aisle. Or there's something wrong. There's something wrong with your spiritual fitness. That's all. When you're brand new sober,
right?
Don't do it.
No,
come in, do the work.
I wasn't scared to go down the liquor aisle, but I definitely wasn't going to go to a bar or.
I remember the first time you went. You had been sober about 4 months when the first time you and Grace went out, and I remember you talking about that, Brad.
But I realized real early that. Mm-hmm. You know, I admitted that it was my issue, not no one else's. And
100%.
And I'm very active. You know, I love my friends. I love hanging out. I love doing things. And I'm not going to change my lifestyle of doing that. No. Like I could do it sober and still have a good time.
Right.
And
you had to find your way of doing it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that for me, I can go.
But some of these people were probably boring while they were drinking.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right. 100%. No, I guarantee
my sponsor said, if you're bored, you're a boring person.
Right. No, it's a true fact. I've actually had to come outside. When I would drink, when I would get towards the end, the more I drank, the more I secluded myself. Even when we're out out at bars or out doing whatever we were doing, I would seclude myself. I didn't like to be around people. Right. And that's not my normal personality. My normal personality is to be right in the middle of the fucking party. I mean, that's just me. I like to socialize. I like to be that way.
With a bag of Cheetos.
With a bag of Cheetos.
Getting after
motherfucker.
And I like to show people how to really drink.
Well, what, ginger ale?
No, when I was drinking.
Right. That was Jason, right? Jason, we talked about that when Jason was in here. You know, nobody could outdrink me. I guarantee you nobody was going to outdrink me.
What'd he say? He still has the belt down there or whatever. Right. That shit was funny.
Yeah. Anyways. Where are we going to go next? We're all over the place on this one.
But I like that. There's alcohol in my house today. You know, my wife still drinks, and I'm totally okay with that. And, you know, I have a refrigerator out in the garage. I have, my soda waters, the sodas, or whatever. But there's beer in there, and I have beer for when my friends come over. Right. It's not a huge deal. When I get home, I don't go, oh man, I got to reach past that beer to get to my soda water. Like, and that mind doesn't cross my mind. It's just,
and I don't want to bash. I'm not bashing on anybody. If you are one of us and you don't want, and that's something that's not to be in your home. Right. I'm just saying that if you have an issue,
right.
You know, if you've got a,
that's just an issue of self-control.
Right. But everybody's thought process is different. Though, right? Yeah. Mine is, don't get me wrong. I get stressed the fuck out, and that thought still comes across my head. Fuck, when I get home, I'm gonna have. Oh no, you're not. You know what I mean?
I don't have that, but I'm not. I don't care if people are offended. Don't be a pussy,
right? Yeah. But
it's just fucking man up, and know what's gonna happen when you're gonna drink. Right. You're gonna go right back. For me, I was gonna lose it all. I was losing it all. Right. I did lose it all, and
I was close.
So I know what that means,
right?
Yeah,
and you know, and I don't future trip. I'm not looking down the road. Hey, maybe in 9 years, maybe she'll let me have a drink and I can be normal again. Like, I don't think about that shit.
But you know what? What she'd probably, if you picked up right now, would Grace say anything to you?
She'd fucking leave.
Would she really?
She wouldn't even hesitate.
Okay.
I don't even think she'd say bye.
Okay. All right.
I told my wife, she's not, you know, because she's thanked me many times because all the men I've sponsored, you know, some that relapse, some have done great. You know, she just always thanked me. Thank you for not being in and out, you know. But if you ever see me grab a drink, I'm gone.
Oh, I know Katie.
I had huge resentment against her for leaving for that, you know. Yeah. But now I think it's the biggest blessing she's ever did for me. Yeah. Even if it didn't work out, like I would still be grateful and thankful to her for.
And I've said it multiple times. I wouldn't do it to Katie again. I wouldn't do it. If I was going to drink, like I just said, and I want to make sure, because we kind of buffaloed over that or ran over it. When I get super stressed out, I mean, I just made a major life change in my life, right? I mean, I don't suggest those in the middle of you know, I'm only 937 days. Shut your mouth.
Are you counting?
You've had your spiritual awakening, result these steps. You're spiritually fit. You do it.
Listen to what the fuck
I'm saying. How far are you behind me?
I'm 37 days, fucker.
Always 37 days. Always.
But when said that when I get stressed out, that the only way I'm going to catch up, motherfucker, is if you start drinking.
It ain't happening.
Okay, so you made a major life change. You don't recommend what?
No, so it's. Let me rephrase how I said that. Right, that decision. If I only 3 and 4 months, when I made my first decision when I first got out of rehab. It was a simple decision for me, right? When I left my previous, the job that I was in, when I left for rehab and when I came back, it was a very simple decision for me to leave that company. I didn't give a shit if I was going to go pick up trash on the side of the freeway. I wasn't staying there. I was extremely blessed with a company that brought me on board with them. I'm getting stronger in my mental thoughts. I'm getting stronger in where I want to be in my life. I'm getting very stronger in those thoughts and that ego. That is not the ego. So I want to be very careful how I say that, right? That ego was not, and I keep it in check. Brad keeps it in check. You keep it in check. Everybody around me keeps my ego very, very in check because Larry's ego is a fucking monster and I don't want anything to do with that thing again. So as I was growing towards the end of the job I just left, I wanted to be very careful, right? And when I was offered this new job that I was just taking over, it was a very stressful period that I went through because I was fighting two things that God had put into my life when I was, 15, 20 days out of Maynard's, put into my life a job to protect me and to get me away from the shit that I was in and give me a bump in salary, right? Mm-hmm. So I was very well protected and thanked God for that.
And a boss who kept your ego in check.
Right.
Who was good for a season.
Right.
He was good for you for a season.
So as I grew, right, and I got healthy and my brain got healthier, and the more I realized, it's just stuff was happening to me and I had to keep checking myself that what can I do? Because I would get anxious every day, right? I was having arguments in my head every day. So I had to keep going back to our steps and going, what do I owning in this? What am I owning in this? What am I owning? I did it every day, right? I'd get into these arguments in my head.
And find out your part.
Right. I just kept going, what's my part? What's my part? What's my part? And I just kept beating myself up. And then when I got this job offer that I just took, it was tough. It was a fucking tough decision. And, at 54 years old, I didn't want to make another fucking job change. I thought I was done. Right. But I have certain things inside of me that I want to be very careful how I say this because Rob and I and Brad and I have had this conversation. I don't need to control anything, but I'm a fucking leader, period. End of statement. Right. I mean, I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. I'm a leader and I'm fucking good at it. I don't follow well. I don't. I have to have a pretty strong fucking leader in front of me to follow somebody. Right.
But there's a difference between being a leader and a control freak.
Yes. I've learned that.
The funny thing is, not funny, but the ironic thing is the position you're in now was the one you were dying to escape from the company you first, but God had to mold you to be a different man.
Right.
Yeah. You needed all that to go back to that. So now you can use all of your, all of your talents.
So that was what the rough decision for me is when I come over, when I just made this change and I'm only a week and a half into it, 2 weeks now. I mean, it was rough for me to make that decision only because I wanted to be very careful that, I kept that in check. And what's the great thing about this company that I just went to work for is you want to talk about owners that have zero ego. I fucking love them. They have no ego what to speak.
Is that the one whose business card says janitor?
Yeah, the owner, the president of the company. Yeah, it's just funny. Head custodian. And it's just funny because he just has no ego. And it's a big company. I mean, he keeps it in check. And, here's the thing about
Probably eats a lot of shrooms.
No.
You should actually dig into that before you start commenting on things you don't know about.
These two are going to go to blows here in a minute. But no, it's just, so I was very cautious, and, I've been there 2 weeks, and in all my conversations with the people that I've been with so far, I go back of an evening when I get back, into my hotel because I'm spending a lot of time over there. Actually, I have my motorhome over there right now, but when I go back of an evening, I sit there and really reflect, what conversations did I have today? Where was I at? How did I treat people? And because I'm being very cautious.
Step 10, 11. For sure.
Right. Because I'm being very cautious of how I'm approaching people. And I don't want to be that you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, because that's a cocksucker of a leader. And I don't want to be that. Right. I mean, that's the way I was when I left my previous company. I went in and just expected people to do what I told them to do because I just told them to do it. I don't want that.
That's a boss. That's not a leader. Though.
Right. That's correct. And that's not what I want to be.
A real leader could get down in there and
I would
show
do it in a heartbeat. And I've done every bit of it. And
yeah,
I will.
And usually is.
Right. Look at Rob. Rob went over this morning. He's a superintendent of all those terminals or all those plants. And he went over this morning, left at 4:00 this morning, go install a fan. You didn't need to fucking do that.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't have to.
No, I didn't.
You could have told people to go do it.
But he gets to.
Well, that's yes,
and
right.
And I did it on OT, own time.
Right,
it's free. They love when I do that shit. Brad's really kind of broken me. Not to say broken me, but he's because what I used to say. No, never mind. But Brad's really helped me in that, and I really got him onto that. DMT, by the way, that is the I say ingredient, but that's in shrooms. LSD, the DMT, that's what really helps people with the PTSD.
There's something else in there.
Are you talking about the toad stuff that comes from a toad? That's the DMT comes from a toad.
But I'm pretty sure but anyway.
No.
It's what Joe Rogan talks about all the time.
But that does help. You get that anyway. Yeah.
Anyway,
but Brad, now would you, because I know he would you, they talk about doing that ayahuasca.
You want to talk about shrooms? You know what I would think would help Eric or Chris in Maynard? I guarantee you
might be right.
I would bet a paycheck on it if he did some mushrooms that it would get you in your brain where you've never been. It might help him with his dementia. And I'm not saying give him an eighth of shrooms and we all watch and have a good time, but I'm saying like if you gave him a little bit and got him where it opened his brain, I bet you would help him with his dementia.
Yeah, I don't know, but the ayahuasca, were you going to ask me if I would do it?
Do an ayahuasca trip?
I don't know. I've listened to.
Okay, well, if you did, would you consider yourself still sober?
No, I'd have to start over again.
I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I would consider myself sober because I didn't drink.
Would you consider yourself clean and sober?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself clean.
Okay,
but I would consider myself sober.
That's the reason why I had such a hard time taking pain meds when
pain meds don't, as long as you do it
I'm just telling you, I had a hard time doing it.
But it goes down to motive too,
right? Anyways,
psilocybin. That's right, psilocybin.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right.
What is that?
That's the ingredient. That's the ingredient, but that's the main driver.
So I take little gummies, but you get them on Amazon or whatever. They just got like
melatonin.
No,
CBD.
Got the lion's mane.
And mushrooms.
Different kinds of mushrooms. So it helps with your brain. It's like brain food.
But that's not.
No, it's not no psychedelic.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change your chemical effects.
I got a bunch of like the mushroom coffee that you guys were. Yeah.
But like Sean Ryan, that guy, he went down there. A lot of military guys went down there, and he went in there. He wasn't even a believer. By the time he did that and everything he's went through, he's a firm believer now.
He saw God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's that? Sean Ryan?
He's a Navy SEAL. He's got his own podcast.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's good.
He does a good job.
But I listened to Ron White on Joe Rogan.
I saw that episode.
Yeah, he doesn't drink anymore, but he goes down. Obviously, he's
because he's one of us.
Getting in trouble,
right? But he he goes down once a year to wherever he goes and does a ayahuasca trip every year.
I wouldn't want to go do it. I'd have to think about it for a little bit and really do a lot of research on it. But I mean, I've heard stories where you purge your life. Like, but I'm talking when you purge and you come out puking, like but you, like the one guy talking to his dead mother, and like he got a bunch of shit out that he wanted to get out. And it's like doing, your 4-step.
Right.
You see, but that's a lot of that I got.
Not remembering.
But going through the steps when I went, wrote the letters to my parents, and I went and did all these, like Dr. Bob did the drive. When I went and did all of that, I got, a life. You talk about a life change, a complete psychic change. That's what I just read that. Which spiritual awakening, psychic change is a change of personality sufficient to overcome alcoholism or drug addiction. I got that. I don't know if I want to talk to, robotic elves, but if I did it, because I had people trying to push when I was going through cancer, I was trying to find something because the pain was, again,
right.
There's levels to pain. And when you think, you go through the back and stenosis or all that, that's nothing. I mean, I've had all that.
Right.
Then you go through cancer and chemotherapy and radiation and and there were certain things I could do. There's certain drugs that didn't work. Yeah. So I had people trying to, hey, Rob, I know you don't like pot, but
try it.
Why don't you try it for pain? I said, well, I can't because I will not be sober and I'm not going to, I'll just,
you won't be clean.
I won't be clean.
Right.
So I couldn't, but you're not doing it to change the way you think or feel. You're doing it for a pain.
Right.
It's not prescribed, so that's just me. And there are some people would say, dude, you're good. You could, but again, that's to thine own self be true.
Right. But that also is what I went through right at the end of my back surgery stuff is when I was having a hard time, I was trying to get off the pain medication, but because I'd felt like I was starting to get dependent on them, but as I was coming off, I was still in so much pain in my back. I didn't need to be coming off of them. No. And I was a motherfucker to be around because I was dealing with the pain, but on the other side, I was not wanting to take that pain medication anymore. Because I felt like I was starting to rely on them. Well, yeah, I was fucking relying on them because I was still in a lot of fucking pain.
And I did. Bonnie saved me with that because I started doing the same thing when I was coming off the cancer, trying to come off the morphine, the Dilaudid. Because I was worried. She's like, "Hey, listen, I can. you're my husband. I know you. You're you're in pain. We're taking it as prescribed. If I got to send you fucking back to Maynard's, we'll deal with that then. Let's kill the cancer and let's deal with this now." It was great advice.
And that's what, and like I said, when I came to the one,
whoa, go back. So she said, if you started drinking, we'll worry about that.
No. She says if these become, if the pain pills become a problem, or the pain medication becomes a problem.
Yeah, but I think is.
But I made a bigger deal out of it.
Right. No. And so did I.
Yeah, I did.
So did I.
You. Different for where you were at. Yeah, you were early sobriety and you overthink everything.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, because I remember you coming in and you brought it up at the meeting and we're like, are you going to take it as prescribed or are you going to fucking take it because you want to take it?
I wasn't even taking it as prescribed at that point anymore. I was only taking it like one or two, it tells you to take it every 4 hours, right?
As needed for pain.
As needed. Well,
but you weren't doing it for that.
No.
And you were walking around in excruciating pain.
I was fucking miserable and the excruciating pain was causing me to be a motherfucker to be around.
Right.
So I'd only take it at night. To help, to help bring the pain level down. But at that point, the levels were so fucking high. 1 or 2 pills wasn't fucking killing that pain.
So that's a narcotic. Was he clean?
Yes. He was just taking it as prescribed. If he was taking it for pain and not to change the way he thinks.
So for a doctor to prescribe it to you makes it okay?
No.
But you just said he was clean. To me, he wasn't clean. He was taking a narcotic. I don't care if the doctor prescribed it to him or not.
I get the doctor.
Should I lose my sober time?
Prescribed is not.
Yeah, should he have lost his sober time?
No, because
But the way you say it, you should.
What did I say? Because the doctor prescribed it? No. If you take it as prescribed, if your motives for taking it, your reasons for taking that pill are not to get high, are not to change the way you think. So
what are you saying? If it's a 30-day bottle and in 2 weeks you say you need a refill?
Rob's getting straight at this. I didn't have any pain in my back,
and you're taking
and I'm still taking it.
Why are you?
But that goes back to what he said: thy own self be true. Right? That's where this comes in right here.
When you are.
I knew I had to be fucking. I knew I should have been taking them. I should have been taking them.
And when it comes to pain like that, you gotta stay ahead of it.
Yeah, you come to our meeting, fucking miserable.
I was a fucking cocksucker.
Should have been fucking taking them.
But it all boils down to motive?
Right.
Why are you taking this?
Right.
Why are you smoking it? Why is the shrooms in front of you? Why are you drinking?
100%.
And if you got to rationalize, justifies, or minimize,
yeah, no.
you know. But if you're taking something as doctor prescribed,
right.
Remember, Rob doesn't have a doctorate.
No, I don't. There's no letters after my fucking name.
But Rob is saying what's in the book.
Right. He's right.
It's what's in the book, right? That's not coming.
Not everybody's opinion is going to be the same either. I mean, on the pills, I'm 100% with that. I don't even like taking any kind of medicine if I don't have ever. To. Yeah.
Right. But even people, we interpret. That's, to me, the book, our big book, and the Bible are different in this aspect. The Bible leaves a lot open for interpretation, right? If I'm wrong,
with certain things, but there's
the
some
big book that this right here. There's not a lot left open for interpretation in that. I mean, Dr. Bill Bill and Dr. Bob, when that was written, were pretty direct on how they said it.
Yeah, because they're targeting alcoholics.
Right.
It's very
right.
point. Now, does it work with everything else? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think back in the 30s and 40s there was a lot of powder accelerants going around.
A lot of pills.
There was a lot of pills.
Oh yeah, they popped a lot of sedatives. Pills, a lot of sedatives,
and they were legal.
Could you imagine how bad those were for you?
Oh, good grief! They talk about taking sedatives in there, right?
And Bill Wilson did play around with psychedelics.
That's what you were saying before we started recording. Talk about that.
Well, I don't know much about it. Me and Jay were talking about it way back when he did. Mess around with
after he got sober
to try, to try just other ways to try to help.
Right.
I ain't saying it's for everybody, but
psychedelics.
Yeah.
No, but the psilocybin that he's talking about, because it does help like people with epilepsy, dementia, Alzheimer's. They're really finding that's helpful.
Really?
Yeah. That chemical.
But I'm talking about small doses. Just do small doses and check it out. We ain't.
Yeah,
they ain't saying be like Larry and like you clean the room with Scooby Doo and shit. Like,
but when you're microdosing that, you're also being
songs for hours.
Oh my god!
It was great. It was actually Bugs Bunny, but it was.
I'm gonna fucking isolate that. It's just clean the room.
You got to watch the Chappelle show. That's from Chappelle.
All right, Brad. Thanks for coming back, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Anything else for leaving out?
Sponsored.
Why don't you
Cheetos.
fucking tell me before you fucking drink?
I just took a drink, Larry.
Good God, we're out of here. Give us a ring on Recovery Unfiltered podcast.
We hope you.
I got to get that fucking timing down on that one right there. Hey, reach out to us if you want to. If you want to get a hold of Brad or anybody, you still got yours. How's yours going, Brad? Your guys.
No one wants to talk to me.
Everybody fucking loves you. They probably want to talk to Grace and wish to God you wouldn't answer them.
They're probably hoping I can start drinking so she'll be on the market.
Probably.
Watch this, hey.
What?
Yeah, hand that to him. This is going to be Grace. I told Brad because Grace was looking for a.
You want to talk about?
She was looking for a Marvel costume, and my daughter has 3 of them. That's my daughter, by the way. That was her last year's. So I said, I sent that to Brad. I heard because I was at Brian's house for Halloween. We were at. I heard you were looking for a costume. I go, I'll give that to Grace next year. But Larry, you got to keep Larry out of your house. Larry, he'll never leave your fucking home. Grace walking around in that thing.
How come I'm becoming the old pervert now?
You're like Jay.
Fuckers.
Yeah, we drove around Modesto.
Oh, hey, by the way, earlier in the podcast, we had talked about the guy with 9 years and the young man, and you asked me how I knew.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I can't say, I'm not going to say anything, Jay, I can't tell you things, like I'm not going to say things privy to,
right.
Jay had told me a lot about this one. Jay's the one that said that, And he's the one that also said, Rob, you didn't do nothing wrong. Whether you said nothing or not, it's not your fault. That guy's fault for going and drinking, getting drunk and drive. But yeah, that's why. That's how I know that guy's not an alcoholic.
Okay.
So there we go.
All right. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast at gmail.com. I am Larry, and I'm an alcoholic, and I'm out of here.
I'm Rob. I'm also an alcoholic, and I'm going to stick around. You learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week, and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that, too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week, and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take care.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.